Hey, Lions fans, what if the corner Detroit couldn't possibly get is already penciled onto the whiteboard with a green check next to his name? What if the move that looks reckless on Twitter is actually the cleanest path to stabilize a shredded secondary and steal an advantage for 2026 before the rest of the league notices? And what if the word confirmed doesn't mean press release tonight? It means the front office has timing, price, and plan aligned? Here's what I'm going to do for you today. I'll walk through the injury reality that backed us into a corner, why the obvious trade names dried up, and why a seemingly impossible target, Martin Emerson Jr., fits Detroit's blueprint better than the rental market. I'll lay out the cap math, the medical timeline, the scheme fit, and the only structure that makes sense if Brad Holmes decides to pull this lever. If you stay with me to the end, you'll see why this wild idea is actually the most logical one on the board. Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, your smart, no-nonsense Lions channel. If you want verified updates and real analysis without the hype machine, hit subscribe, drop a like, and turn on those alerts. Let's work. Let's start with the obvious. The secondary has been torn apart in a hurry. A starting outside corner hit injured reserve with a hamstring and is out due to bye. Then your ascending outside CB, the one with the swagger you want in the fourth quarter, suffered a shoulder that screams weeks, not days. That combination just tests depth. It forces you to change coverages on the fly. When you're prepping for quarterbacks who attack the sideline with timing routes and double moves, improvisation isn't a plan. It's a liability. Now adds schedule pressure. The trade deadline is a hard stop, no extensions, no grace periods. Every hour you don't act, your leverage shrinks and somebody else overpays for the guy you liked yesterday. The league doesn't curve for bad luck. It just closes the window. You can pretend patience is strategy, but October punishes teams that pretend. Naturally, the chatter defaulted to the usual suspects' names that look comfortable because you've heard them for months. The problem is the board is liquid. One swap somewhere else, and the tier you wanted evaporates. Healthy starters with press pedigree cost more today than they did last week, and short-term rentals age like milk. You end up spending a mid-round pick for a CB3, who keeps the water level 1 inch lower for 2 games and then becomes CB4 when the room heals. That's not team building. That's aspirin. So yes, this is how we get to the name that makes people blink. Martin Emerson Jr. On the surface, it sounds absurd. He tore his Achilles in camp. He's not playing this year. Why on earth would Detroit chase a player who can't help in October? Because you're not buying October. You're buying an outside corner profile for 2026 that perfectly complements Terrion Arnold and lets Brian Branch go back to being the roving problem solver. This defense needs to hit its ceiling. Let's talk player. Emerson's game is length, patience, and control. He crowds the red line, plays through the hands, and wins by forcing quarterbacks to throw in the tight, unfriendly windows. He's not a gimmick nickel. He's a boundary clamp who makes your nickel and your safeties look smarter. Picture it. Arnold's mirror skills and burst on vertical stems on one side. Emerson's suffocation of slants and comebacks on the other. That tandem doesn't just survive. It dictates. And when your outside corners dictate, your pass rush gets half a beat more, which turns pressures into sacks and throws into turnovers. Now, the part everybody trips on, the injury. Achilles rehabs are serious. That's exactly why there is only one version of an Emerson move that makes sense, and it's the version I can stand behind, stash and extend. You acquire his rights now for a rational asset. Bake in a conditional sweetener tied to 2026 snaps, and work an extension that protects the team per-game roster bonuses. Playtime triggers while giving the player security during rehab. You don't rush him. You don't pretend he's a 2025 savior. You buy 2026 clarity at a 2025 price. Cap mechanics supported. Because he's not playing this year, you're not choking 2025 cash flow. Your meaningful commitments land when other deals can be massaged or roll off. Good front offices don't chase cap space, they schedule it. This is scheduling. You align dollars with the season where Emerson actually changes your win curve, not the one where he's in the training room. Why would Cleveland even listen? Because timing is a currency. For a team that already reshaped its corner room and needs flexibility for other priorities, turning a 2025 non-contributor into picks and conditions has value. And for Detroit, the asymmetry is obvious. You can extract a discount today for a player who is far more expensive once he's healthy and proving it again. It's not fleecing. It's paying yesterday's price for tomorrow's production. Let's drop the spreadsheet and get back to ball. When Aaron Glenn's defense is right, we play aggressive outside leverage, funnel in breaking routes into help, and drive on throws with bad intentions. That strains quarterbacks into hesitations that let our rush close. Emerson, at full health, is built for that picture. He's a patient bully. He takes away free access, erases easy rhythm throws, and forces you to be perfect down the sideline. Combine that with Arnold's competitiveness, and you get complementary corners, who let the safeties disguise more and the coordinator heat protections without living in zero. That's how you win playoff downs, force windows late, and shrink them fast. Short term still matters. So here's the two-track plan I expect. Stabilize October with veterans who understand leverage and landmarks. Compress space with layered rotations and ask the rush to buy the back end an extra half second. Meanwhile, you work the forward-dated deal that secures a 2026 starter. It's not sexy, but it is how you turn a crisis into calendar advantage. You're not punting this season. You're refusing to overpay for a half measure while you bank a full one. Now, about that word everyone is waiting to tweet. Confirmed. In a front office, confirmation isn't a graphic. It's alignment. It's the moment where medicals, compensation, and contract structure click into place and the risk profile makes sense. I can tell you this much with a straight face. The Emerson-type boundary profile opposite, Arnold is exactly the long view target this staff wants. And the only version of Emerson that fits Detroit is the one I described right now, rehab in peace. Debut as a headliner in 2026. Anything else is noise. Here's the decision on a whiteboard, coach style. Option A, spend a mid-round pick on a rental CB who starts 2 games, kicks inside when the room heals, and leaves you with nothing but a receipt. Option B, spend a similar asset with 2026 conditions on Emerson's rights. Lock a team-friendly extension with medical outs. And build a corner duo that elevates your entire coverage structure for years. If the prices converge, I know which button I'm pushing. Before I close, I want your voice on this, because this is where fandom and team building collide. Would you trade a modest pick today for an injured boundary corner you can't use until 2026 if it locks in the perfect stylistic partner for Terry and Arnold? Or would you prefer a short-term rental to patch October and hope the room holds when the schedule tightens? Drop your package, your risk tolerance, and the role you envision when everyone's healthy. Let's make the comments section a real front office. Debate.my concise read. No fluff. Detroit's secondary crisis forced a hunt for immediate help. But the rental market is overpriced and short-lived. A stash and extend play from Martin Emerson Jr. aligns with scheme, cap, and timeline, turning a 2025 headache into a 2026 edge. While the staff coaches through the next month with disciplined rotations and complimentary rush dot if this breakdown brought clarity. Don't just lurk subscribe to Lions News Fan Report. Hit the bell. And share this with a friend who still believes every done deal screenshot. I'll be here with fast updates and deep dives that respect your time and your intelligence.